Welcome to South Asia Maps. This is your facilitator, J. Reddy, and at South Asia, I aim to bring the land edge south of Karakoram Mountains, north of sacred city, town of Kanyakumari, that region, south and north, in the form of icons, images, and maps for the easy grasping understanding of the audience. Excuse me. Today we are talking about Dakshin, the princely state. The talk revolves around the princely state of Hyderabad, some major political events that has happened after partition and independence of Bharat. The title of today's talk is, I will go over these terms so that you will understand it very clearly. The Asafiya Nizamiya solstice. Solstice for Islamic imperialism in Deccan. That is, revolves around a part Operation Polo. Operation Polo was a brief police action by the Dominion of India. From the Islamic Muslim perspective, they waged Ghazwa-el-Deccan, we discuss about it, and that was 5 days or 4 days in September 48. The belligerents will discuss it. So, the important thing is Hyderabad, princely state, Padshahi Ghazwi, Mir Usman Ali Khan. In Hyderabad princely state, Padshah-e Ghazvi, the ruler, Mir Usman Ali Khan realizes that Ghazwa-el-Deccan he waged with the dominion of India. The Ghazwa-el-Deccan, his adherents, Razakars, Qasim Razvi, El Idris, Mir Layak Ali Khan, all those people waged Ghazwa-el-Deccan. This is very different from Rasuls or prophets, their Islamic leader, founder of Islam, prophet in Hejaz. He waged Ghazwa-el-Badr in Hejaz, today's modern Saudi Arabia, and won a spectacular victory. So, we are comparing these two. The Padshahi Ghazvi realized that his Ghazwa-el-Deccan is not as Ghazwa-el-Badr, so he didn't win a spectacular victory. That's what it means. So when I hear a lot of Indian scholars, they just talk in the Western idiom mostly, not even local Telugu or Tamil, Kannada idioms. Most of their intellectual equipage is Western. And I also enjoy listening a lot of Islamic lectures from the alienated our brothers west of River Ravi, that means Pakistan. They also talk a lot about their Islam, their Islamic idiom. Mahayogi Sri Ram Swarup, who is one of the greatest intellectual giants of modern India, later half of 20th century, that means 1950 to 2000, he passed away 1998 end December. He says Hindu societies under siege now. We are living with Islamic countries, and we are also living internally with a lot of missionary activities. Islamism and Christianism pose a very great threat to the Hindu society because they are extensively alienated. That means, a simple example, we say Operation Polo. This is an English word, but when you talk, I saw a couple of videos made by the people living in Pakistan. They characterize this Ghazwa-el-Deccan. They are telling their own viewpoint in their own idiom. So it's very important. You need to understand your adversarial viewpoint. Pakistan formation or resting of the 5 provinces Subhas was only the beginning. History is a continuous process. Muslims, Islamic proselytes are not happy with that, and they sensed much more bigger pray now. So they are after it. So one way to understand is to see, listen what they are saying. So here I will talk about this in detail so that you will get a different perspective compared to when you listen to different presenters. Here I will explain these words one by one. Asafiya or Nizamiya represents a realm, a domain, geopolitical unit, a state ruled by Nizams of Hyderabad, which are appointed by Mughal Badshah at that time. The founder of dynasty is Asaf. So the territory is named as Asafiya. Their title is also Nizam, Nizamul Mulk, regulator of realm, that means controller, moderator. So it's called Nizamiya. Solstice means in the astrology or astronomy, in the climate sciences, the sun moves the northernmost point. In the northern hemispheres where we live, most of the people live, June 21st is the solstice, the longest day in northern hemispheres. That will be felt by especially people living in northern latitudes like Canada, United States, Russia, and so on, northern Europe. What it represents is the highest peak beyond which you cannot go. Sun cannot go beyond solstice, that is 23.3 degrees or so. That is summer solstice. Opposite occurs in the southern hemisphere. Winter, we call winter solstice. For Australians, that is the solstice. That means the sun goes straight on the early spring, that is around about 23 degrees in the central Australia and so on. So solstice, the Islamic imperialism is a domination by the Islamic rulers on the native population, erasing the native culture, imposing the Arab Islamic imperialism under the religious banner. According to the Voice of India think tank, Islam itself is an imperial idea. It is not a spirituality, it has a zero spirituality, lot of theology in it. So that was the solstice for Islamic imperialism is Deccan. That solstice, when it occurred in the Operation Polo. What is Operation Polo? Operation Polo is a brief military operation done by the Dominion of India under the leadership of Sardar Patel. Purpose was integrating the recalcitrant internal state of Bharat, that is Hyderabad, into the Dominion of India, like the rest of 530 plus principalities, states, Takuriyas, Jamindaris, and all those integrated with the Dominion of India after partition. Nizam resisted and reluctant and actively opposed the later stages, so the government of India, Dominion of India, took 5 days police action. It's not a military action. Naming of the term is very important. That already Muslim jihadis in South India was waging a war against the Dominion of India to establish their Khilafat in Deccan. They called it Nizamiya or Usmanistan, the independent Islamic nation in the heartland of Bharat and Deccan. They called it Ghazwa-el-Deccan. What is Ghazwa? Prophet of Islam is not only a religious leader, he is also a political military leader. Ghazwa essentially means a war. He waged nearly 27 Ghazwas against his opponents in Arabia. Ghazwa is essentially a form of jihad. Jihad is a gangsterism essentially called whole in Islamic theology, essentially attacking and conquering, converting, destroying their temples and co-opting the woman and bringing them to harem, all those things. That is jihad, a permanent war Islam enjoins on its converts, proselytes, to wage against kafirs. That is also a Ghazwa. In fact, the scholars I saw, they called it Operation, we call it Operation Polo. I was wondering, they call it Al-Tawheed wal-Jihad fi Deccan. What it means? Tawheed is monotheism, Islamic theology. Only Allah need to be worshipped, nobody else. That is Tawheed. So they are waging a jihad. Where are they waging the jihad? They are waging the jihad in Deccan. That is predominantly a Kafiri territory. That's where the jihad is waged. So that's what they called. That's called Battle of Monotheism and Jihad in Hyderabad princely state. That is in Deccan. That we call it Operation Polo. What they called is very, very important to think about their mindset. Operation Polo is a brief military operation for 4 or 5 days. The belligerents, I took it this from the wiki as it is, and the belligerents are the Dominion of India and the princely state of Hyderabad, which pretended it is a sovereign independent state that was contested by the Dominion of India, that it is not sovereign, it is not independent, it is an internal part, because Dominion of India state succeeded British Raj, who was the sovereign power in India, that was a paramount power. All the princely states are subordinates to the sovereign power, paramount power. Paramount belonged to East India Company Sarkar at Delhi. That was inherited by the legatee, that is in the eastern side of river Ravi, by the Dominion of India at Delhi, and the sovereignty in the west of river Ravi, that is Radcliffe line, was given to the Dominion of Pakistan. So the two paramount powers emerged in 1947 partition. So the Dominion of India claimed it is the paramount power, that was contested by the Nizam. So there was altercation. So they started Ghazwa-el-Deccan, that is Jihad fi Deccan, for the establishment of Islam. The Dominion of India, Governor General Rajagopalachari, the Premier Jawaharlal Nehruji, and Home Minister Sardar Patel, and Defense Minister Master Baldev Singh, and actual ground level, the police action taken by J.N. Chowdhury and so we have omitted here. Then, on the other side of the belligerents, representing the state of Hyderabad, is Mir Usman Ali Khan. He has a title, a pretentious title. Sitaram Goel makes fun of it, called Padsahi Ghazvi. Ghazvi is not Ghaznavi. Ghazvi is a person who fights in war. Ghazwa is a war, a raid, ambushing, and the people who lead it or participate. This is Ghazvi. And Padshah means their leader, Badshah. Persian word Shah. Padsahi Ghazvi means in this Ghazwa-el-Deccan, led almost nearly 13 months from 47 August to September 48. That Ghazwa was led by Qasim Razvi, El Idrus, Mir Laik Ali Khan. These are the prominent officials, the chief ministers, prime minister of Nizam, and Islamic volunteers called Razakars, or Islamic gangsters doing lot of atrocities on innocent non-combatant forces. So he was their leader, Padshahi Ghazvi. So what is the Battle of Badr? This is the Arabian Peninsula. Historically, Arabian Peninsula has a region called Hejaz in the north, where their holiest shrines, where Islamic imperialism was first established by Prophet Muhammad by subduing the local pagan Quraysh tribes round about 625 and so on. The major battle he fought at that time was Badr. This Saudi Arabia has Hejaz, Asir, Najd, Shamar, Al-Khasha, Rub, Al-Khali. We are mostly concerned about Hejaz. In Hejaz, most populated region or historic region of that part, Jazirat al-Arab means island of Arabia, where the Arabs lived, where the Arabian imperialism, Islam started and spread throughout the world. He waged a major Ghazwa battle in Badr against the local Quraysh tribe, who all polytheists, worshipped many gods. He won that successful battle. Battle of Badr made Islam a major political force in Arabia and eventually much part of the world today. One More than 1 billion Muslim converts under Islam. So the Battle of Badr is considered to be the turning point in the Islamic history. In a sense, it is a major military victory. Our Padshahi Ghazvi thought his Ghazwa-el-Deccan will be like Ghazwa-el-Badr. That's what the title of our talk represents. Here I have shown what is Ghazwa-el. Padshahi Ghazi is the Middle Eastern title the royals take. Now most of the Nizams of Hyderabad sported that. Lot of rulers. That is Arabic, Persian, Turkish, Kurdish, Pashto, and Azeri, and Dari languages. All these languages, Tajiki inherited that. That is Padshahi Ghazi. That was the title Nizam of Hyderabad bore. And Battle of Badr was fought in 624. Is a major military victory for the Prophet of Islam, Muhammad, and Islamic imperialism consolidated overthrowing the pagan native Arab religion in the Arabian Peninsula. Operation Polo. Operation Polo, what it is a small police action by the Dominion of India on the recalcitrant princely state of Hyderabad for integration. Is a small military operation in Hyderabad where the Dominion of India finally annexes the last outpost of Darul Islam in Deccan. Darul Islam means a territory that is populated with Muslims or ruled by a Muslim. Even the population is non-Musliman Kafirs. Because the ruler is Turkish in origin, is a Turani noble coming from Asaf Jawan, the first Nizam, a prominent wazir, minister, and a guide, philosopher, advisor of, at that time, Muhammad Shah of the declining Mughal Empire. So he established Darul Islam in South India, that eventually called princely state of Hyderabad. So the Battle of Badr is Ghazwa-el-Badr. That is, here we are comparing Ghazwa-el-Deccan. Ghazwa-el-Deccan is a war in Deccan from the perspective of Islamic proselytes like Qasim Razvi, Mir Layak Ali Khan, His Exalted Highness Mir Usman Ali Khan, all those adherents of the Nizam who wanted establish an independent Islamic sovereign state in the heartland of Hindu civilization on the Deccan Peninsula. That is Ghazwa-el-Deccan. They want to establish, consolidate Darul Islam, the land of Islam, Darul Islam, that is also called Usmanistan by his opponents. So the Operation Polo was organized, initiated by the Dominion of India, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, to counter the Ghazwa-el-Deccan that was going on for months after Nizam started showing reluctance to join the Dominion of India like any other princely states, and he started slowly militarizing his regime, importing the arms, building the army, Razakars, volunteers, and giving the very violent statements in the press, stopping the trains and going and looting the Hindu properties, or anybody who opposed their concept of Islam and their idea of establishing the sovereign state. So the Ghazwa-el-Deccan was countered by Operation Polo, the Hyderabad contingent of Nizam, Islamic vandals, militants, Razakars versus the Indian army. So, what would we essentially look today? We looked today at Asafia, that is the realm or domain, geographical unit or state, other name for Nizamiya, ruled by Nizam, that is also called Hyderabad simply. In technical legal terms, that is the princely state of Hyderabad. that collapsed after Operation Polo. Asafia Nizamiya solstice is the peak in which Islamic imperialism established in Mecca and Medina by the Prophet, entered in India in Sindh first, later Ghaznabis, Ghoris, and Mamluk sultans in Delhi, and Mughals, and also various other rulers like Hyder Ali, who served the Wadayari kingdom, and Tipu Sultan, Nizam. They all established and spread throughout various parts of the Bharat. It was disintegrated by the rising Maratha nationalism, and they collapsed it, and remnants remained when the British imperialism set it foot from Battle of Plassey, when they conquered the Khalsa kingdom finally in 1849. A remnant of Islamic imperialism has its final solstice in Deccan. That occurred because of Operation Polo. We discussed about Operation Polo as a counter to Ghazwa-el-Deccan. That is also called a very high-sounding Islamic term in their mindset. Al-Tawheed al-Jihad fi Deccan, that means a jihad, a war, or Ghazwa for establishing of monotheism of Islam, Tawheed, in the Deccan region of South India, of South Asia, Bharat. So we looked at various belligerents, dominion of India and the princely state of Hyderabad, and we compared Ghazwa-el-Deccan with Ghazwa-el-Badr, where the Prophet waged a war and got a spectacular success over his opponents, the Quraysh tribe, polytheists, the people who followed their native religion, where Muhammad claimed that he is getting revelations from a god or entity. He claimed he is sending him revelations. Everybody has to agree for this and come to his control. That natives resisted, they fought, in which the Prophet won the war. So that is considered to be a major Islamic victory that turned the tide today. So His Exalted Highness Pasha Ghazvi, the leader of Ghazis like Razakars and Qasim Razvi and Laikal and El-Edrus, is Hyderabad contingent or Nizami contingent, Razakars volunteers. The leader Padshahi Ghazvi realized the Ghazwa-el-Deccan he thought will be just like Ghazwa-el-Badr of Hejaz was not like that, and it collapsed within 5 days. So that is about Mir Usman Ali Khan, the last Nizam of Hyderabad princely state, and Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel here. If we go and look at the Nizam's territories, and here we can look at the Nizam's territories. This is the Telangana region. This is the Nizam's realm in Deccan, that is Usmanistan they used to call it, and it is Hyderabad, this region, and Aurangabad, Jalna, and Parbani here, Nanded, and B district and Usmanabad, Latur, from where Qasim Razvi spent most of his life. He was originally from Lucknow. And Kulbaragi, Gulbarga, this is the Bidar, Canary speaking districts, Raichur, and Koppal, and Kulbarga, Wadi, and Kalyani, and Bidar, Canary speaking districts, and Hyderabad, Warangal, Karimnagar, Nizamabad, Adilabad, the Telugu speaking districts of the Nizam's territory, and Marathi speaking districts of Aurangabad, that was the first original capital where Asaf Jawan, the first Nizam, established his de facto independent state of Hyderabad after Battle of Saharkeda in 1724, and the Hyderabad survived in the diminished various forms round about 224 years, and finally it met its solstice, the Islamic imperialism in Deccan, after after Operation Polo. So That is in brief about Operation Polo and the point of present discussion, Asafiya Nizamiya, the solstice for Islamic imperialism in Deccan, where Operation Polo successfully met for 5 days Ghazwa-el-Deccan, and Nizam Padshah Ghazvi realized that Ghazwa-Deccan is not same as Ghazwa-el-Badr of Prophet Muhammad. So thank you very much for today's presentation, joining, and I appreciate your feedback and suggestions and compliments, and we will continue to bring high quality presentations on South Asian heritage to our audience in the iconographic and images and icons in the coming months. Thank you very much and have a nice day.